That TikToker with 200 new items from Shein?
One of the fun parts about the job, too, I think, is finding new channels.
They're participating in the most environmentally destructive consumer behavior in history.
Not be the only ways to manage the solid waste.
Fashion micro-trends are cycling faster than ever before.
Clothing is actually recycled in the very literal sense of the word.
1%.
1%.
What took 20 years now takes 20 days.
They don't want our hand-me-downs and tried to ban them.
But what if I told you this isn't just changing fashion?
Take curtains, they'll take jeans, they'll even take your old underwear.
It's literally destroying the planet and exploiting millions.
Look at the whole life cycle of products when I investigate the environmental impacts.
The fashion industry has always had trends, but something fundamentally changed around 2020. The average trend cycle has collapsed from 20 years to as little as 3 to 5 weeks, creating what industry insiders now call micro-trends. After 6 months analyzing algorithm data, interviewing former fast fashion executives, and consulting with environmental scientists, I've uncovered 3 shocking truths about microtrends that brands and influencers are desperate to hide. First, I'll reveal how social media algorithms have been deliberately engineered to create fashion overconsumption on an unprecedented scale. Second, I'll expose the environmental catastrophe these microtrends are causing, including waste sites so massive they're visible from space. And finally, I'll show you the psychological manipulation tactics being used to keep young consumers trapped in an endless cycle of buying and discarding. What makes this especially disturbing is that this isn't just changing how we dress. It's rewiring our brains, depleting natural resources, and creating a waste crisis that will last for generations. By the end of this video, you'll never look at that 10 must-have summer trends video the same way again. Let's start with how we got here. What changed to make trend cycles collapse so dramatically? The answer lies in how social media algorithms have been engineered to maximize consumption. I spoke with former content policy manager at a major social platform who explained how the system works. The algorithms are explicitly designed to identify and promote content that drives purchasing behavior. When we see a spike in conversion rates, people buying after seeing content, that content gets boosted to more users. This creates a feedback loop. Content that generates purchases gets more views, which generates more purchases, which generates more similar content. The most effective content for driving purchases? The micro-trend haul format. We could see clear data that users who watched haul videos purchased 3.7 times more frequently than those who didn't, the former platform employee revealed. So the algorithm was adjusted to push this content to more users. Ultra-fast fashion brands like Shein recognized this algorithm pattern and built their entire business model around it. Unlike traditional retailers that release 4 to 12 collections per year, Shein releases 6,000 to 10,000 new styles daily. The business model isn't about creating lasting product, explains retail analyst Morgan Chen. It's about creating constant newness that triggers the algorithm and creates FOMO, or the fear of missing out. This has fundamentally changed consumer psychology in ways that are deeply concerning. The environmental impact of micro-trend culture is difficult to comprehend because of its sheer scale. Let me put it in perspective. The fashion industry now produces over 100 billion garments annually for 8 billion people. But the micro-trend cycle means these items are worn fewer times than ever before being discarded. The average fast fashion garment is now worn less than 5 times before being discarded, explained sustainable fashion researcher Dr. Veronica Bates-Cassantley. In the 1980s, the average was 200 plus wearers. Where does all the discarded clothing go? I traveled to Atacama Desert in Chile, home to one of the world's largest textile waste dumps, where over 39,000 tons of fast fashion ends up annually. This is just one of dozens of similar sites around the world, explains environmental scientist Carlos Mendes, walking me through mountains of discarded clothing. The volume is increasing so rapidly that we can't even measure it accurately anymore. The environmental impact extends beyond waste. Each micro-trend garment requires approximately 713 gallons of water to produce. Fast fashion production releases 1.2 billion tons of CO2 annually, more than international flights and shipping combined. Synthetic materials shed microplastics with every wash, now found in human bloodstreams and placentas. We're only beginning to understand the health implications, explains environmental toxicologist Dr. Emma Wright. These microplastics contain endocrine disruptors that may affect hormone function and reproductive health. But perhaps the most disturbing aspect is how this system affects human psychology. The microtrend cycle isn't just environmentally destructive. It's designed to create a particular psychological state that maximizes consumption. I consulted with consumer psychologist Dr. Jonathan Harris to understand how microtrends affect our brains. What we're seeing is essentially an addition cycle being deliberately engineered, Dr. Harris explains. The constant novelty triggers dopamine release, but the satisfaction is increasingly short-lived, requiring another purchase to maintain the same feeling. This creates what researchers call reduced hedonic adaptation, the decreasing ability to feel satisfaction from what you already own. Fast fashion brands and social platforms have weaponized this psychology through specific tactics. Number 1, artificial scarcity messaging, like only 3 left. Number 2, limited time offers that create urgency. Number 3, constant exposure to newness that makes existing items feel outdated. Number 4, social comparison through influencer content. The demographic most vulnerable to these tactics? Young women aged 16 to 24. We're seeing alarming rates of anxiety and financial stress among young consumers, explains financial counselor Maria Diaz. I've counseled clients who have maxed out multiple credit cards buying items they wear once for social media before discarding. I was spending over 70% of my paycheck on clothes, one 22-year-old told me. I had items in my closet with tags still on while I was buying more. It felt completely out of control. Internal documents from fast fashion brands reveal this psychological vulnerability is deliberately targeted. Our target consumer views fashion as disposable entertainment rather than durable goods, one internal strategy document states. The goal is to minimize the time between purchase consideration and the next purchase trigger. So how did we get here and where is this heading? The microtrend cycle represents the perfect storm of technological capability, algorithmic amplification, and psychological exploitation. What we're witnessing is unprecedented in human history, explains fashion historian Dr. Valerie Steele. Never before has clothing been so cheap, so abundant, and so quickly discarded. The economic model relies on externalizing true costs. Environmental costs are pushed onto future generations, human costs are hidden in global supply chains, psychological costs manifest as anxiety and financial stress, cultural costs include the loss of craftsmanship and durability. Some brands are beginning to recognize the unsustainability of this model. H&M Group CEO Helena Helmerson recently acknowledged the current pace of production and consumption cannot continue if we want to operate within planetary boundaries. Yet, their business models remain fundamentally unchanged. The good news is that alternatives are emerging. We're seeing a growing movement toward quality over quantity, explains sustainable fashion advocate Aja Barber. People are rediscovering the joy of fewer, better things. The microtrend cycle represents the most toxic convergence of technology, psychology, and commerce, creating a system that harms consumers, workers, and the planet. My goal isn't to make you feel guilty about your past purchases, but to help you recognize the manipulation so you can make more intentional choices going forward. Remember, true style isn't about constant consumption. It's about developing a personal aesthetic that stands outside the algorithm's influence.